Hi there, welcome to Homekeepers. Come right on in, my friend. Glad to be with you today. Hope you're having a good day. There's a lot of unrest and turmoil out there because of COVID-19, but hasn't changed God's position on the throne. He's still there. You can call on him anytime for any reason. Isn't that wonderful to know? Well, I have an interesting lady today. Her name is Aimee Cabo Nikilov, and she wrote this book, Love is the Answer, God is the Cure. I'll tell you, it's a real page turner. I don't know that I've ever read of such abuse and chaos for one person to have to face and go through. But yet, as a little girl, and I'll have her tell you about it, she had an awareness of God. And it's the thread throughout this book. I wouldn't try to tell the story. I'll let her tell it, but you do want to stay tuned, I'll tell you that. I'm going to join Stephanie. We're going to make some wild wedges. They're actually quesadillas. You know, the interesting thing about quesadillas, you can put anything between the tortillas and call it whatever you want. So we're going to fix one for you. I think this one is really kind of an entree. It's almost a full meal of everything you put in it, and probably your family would love it. Before I join her, though, I want to, this will probably be the last time, unless you see it in a re-air, offering you the Daniel Plan. It's a 40-day plan for a healthier life. Now, 40 days isn't very long. This was a big #1 seller on the New York books list, and I think that you would really like to have this. Of course, it costs a lot more when it was on that list, and we've got it for you for $23. It's called The Daniel Plan by Rick Warren, and it's based on good biblical information, because the best guides to health really are in the scripture. And they're pretty easy and pretty basic and have stood the test of time, that's for sure. So I'm over here with Sister Steph. What's going on?
I just had quesadillas for dinner last night.
You did?
But it had refried beans and cheese.
Well, that's it. You can put anything in them.
You can make dessert. I was thinking of this when we were talking about this. You can make dessert quesadillas, because I love apples and cheese together. So you could do like an apple pie filling and some cheddar cheese and put it between two. Doesn't that sound delicious?
That sounds wonderful.
That sounds so good.
So,
but today we're super simple. We have chicken, we have cheese, salsa, green onions, and flour tortillas. That's it. But you could get your kids involved. You know, everyone's home. A lot of people are homeschooling this year. So have a cooking class.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Hey, before you do that,
oh sure,
I got an email from one of our wonderful viewers, and her daughter and family got COVID, and the child is in the hospital. It's just not very many people know this, but this is a syndrome that hits children in this COVID, and it's very serious. It's called a multi-system inflammatory syndrome. So if you can remember that, if a child gets it, you better probably take them to the hospital or something, because that is life-threatening, that one thing. So what about our viewers,
little medical advice for you.
Yes, thank you, Ann. She's a sweet one.
Yeah.
Okay, now you kind of
okay, so super simple.
Get them hot.
Yep, we're just going to take some tortillas. I think you're supposed to be cutting, but I'll take some of the cut stuff already.
Okay.
I'm going to put some cheese on here.
I'll turn this around so you
yes,
can grab
please.
it.
And this will be like the binder, so it won't, you know,
okay,
fall
now
apart.
It's August. You probably have your Christmas shopping done.
I have my countdown outside of my office. It's 136 days till Christmas when we're taping this. Okay, so it's coming. Pretty soon we're going to be in double digits, and I'm excited.
But I'm wondering about, because she starts Christmas shopping around the 30th of December for the next year.
Yes.
So.
And
Well,
so I'm going to put some salsa.
A lot of good sales.
Yeah, oh yeah, lots of good sales. And again, I do this because I find things throughout the year that are very personalized to my family members that would mean something.
Let me tell you, tell me if this is brilliant, okay?
Okay, oh, green
I
onions.
have 9 great-grandchildren. I don't buy Christmas gifts. I give each family a check. I feel if I bought them a gift, it would be lost. They wouldn't know I got it for
Yes,
them. It would end up
yes.
in the trash. So this year I got the idea, remember them at Valentine's. So I sent Valentine's and put some money in them. One grandchild opened it up and said, Nana's rich.
Yeah.
You know? Now, okay, I'm going to do Valentine's Day for
Yep.
them. I'm going to do Thanksgiving. I'm going to send them a card with some money in it. I'm going to tell them, I pray for you every single day. I pray that the Lord will guide your life all the way. I am so very, very thankful for you. And see, they'll remember that.
They
They'll-
will
They won't
remember
remember
that.
some junky thing I put under the tree.
I'll tell you what I do every year that I know they're going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving night, I have packages for all of the grandkids, and it has Christmas pajamas in it with their names on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it has like a Christmas book. It has all kinds of Christmas things. I think they'll remember that
More.
because we're to the point now that they'll say, okay,
Christmas, woo!
we're ready.
Yeah.
Because they look forward to their pajamas.
yeah.
So I do that every year. They're already ordered. The minute they go on sale, and the woman that I get them from, the minute I order them, I get them taken
How
care
many
of.
out there would like to be her grandchild?
Yes.
I would.
So super simple. Okay, so we've browned each
And
side.
you were kind of wanting the cheese to kind of melt
Yes,
inside there all over
yes.
everything.
And again, you could do any different meat. You could do vegetables.
Mm.
You could do different cheeses. You could do desserts. It's limitless.
Do you agree it's practically an entree?
Oh yeah, like I said, I
Yes.
had it for dinner last night.
Yeah, yeah.
I had 3 fried beans.
I will
and-
let you.
Okay, I'll be
taste
the
it.
taster today. But I know it's delicious.
I love these. I really do.
And this was a rotisserie chicken, it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, super
perfect.
simple.
Yeah.
You don't even have to cook that.
Yeah, perfect.
Get a rotisserie chicken,
or,
get all the-
or if you're not going to the store, put a couple of
breasts,
chicken breasts in the oven.
Yep. That's a great flavor profile with the salsa.
Yeah, with the kids. Yeah, they'll love that.
So good, so easy.
If you want this recipe, information's coming up on your screen. You can get it, no cost. It's from us to you. So you choose the way that's best for you, and we will get it out. And then I want you to meet my new best friend, Aimee. I think you're going to love her. Stay there.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
All right, I'm here with Aimee Cabo Nikilov, and welcome to Homekeepers.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
How long has your book been out?
It's been since 2017.
So it's been out a while. And it's one of the most heartbreaking stories I've ever read. You are from Miami and real familiar with the Cuban population there, correct?
Yes.
Tell me your story and your parents and what they were and how your family interacted.
Sure. I come from a large family of 9 children where both my parents are physicians. And my parents studied medicine in the Dominican Republic. I first met my stepfather when I was 3 years old. Now, it was a strict Catholic family upbringing. And so we were taught about God. At 7 years old, I had a dream where there was a huge monster. It was a bull with large horns coming at me, and it was very scary. But behind me was a fragile little wooden house that would definitely tear apart. And so I remember that my mother told me, if you believe, God will save you. All you have to do is pray. So I got down on my knees and I prayed. And the bull, the monstrous bull, just laid down in front of me, went to sleep. Up from above came Jesus with his hands like this, dressed in white, accompanied by angels, singing a beautiful hymn. And when Jesus' feet touched the floor, little children appeared around me, laughing, happy. They went to him and hugged him, and I said, God, how about me? And he said, come to me, my child. And that was my first vivid memory after that, was that my stepfather had already been abusing me considerably, where it hurt to use the bathroom. And that's how my mother found out
You
the
were
first time around.
7 years old when you...
7 years old.
And your life was riddled with abuse, rape, torture, and not only you, but your other sister, did you have a sister that was older?
Yes, I had an older sister that had been fondled by my stepfather, and she had ran away. And she was the one that, when I was 15, when I finally said something, because I had been abused since I was 7 to 15. I was the black sheep of the family. My mother would beat me. I knew never to speak again when I was 7 years old, because my dad did come back 2 days later. And when I was 15, I just couldn't take it anymore, because it had gotten to a point that he de-virginized me before my 12th birthday. And then when I was 12, then started the sodomizing, and I mean, from 14 to 15. And I just felt very alone, and it had just become too much. So one day that my sister came, I told her, if you're gonna run away, take me with you. And I told her what was happening.
Did you go to the authorities?
She called the police, and that's how the case from hell came about. It was a case that would last 4 to 5 years. All the kids were removed. The judge found him guilty because I was able to describe something I could only know if I've seen him without clothes in the nude. But my parents had a strong hold of the police.
But
the
this was called in
detectives.
Miami the case from hell.
Yes, and it was
Now,
very...
Janet Reno was the Attorney General of the United States for President Bill Clinton. What was her position in Miami at that time? Was she the Attorney General of the state, or was she a prosecutor?
She was called in because things got a little complicated when, you know, most abuse victims always blame themselves, and at one point I recanted. But when the kids returned almost at the end of the 4 years, I felt bad. So I felt that I had to prove it somehow again, and I tape recorded him. When I tape recorded him, and it's his voice.
When I read that, I thought, there's one smart girl. You recorded your own father, right?
Yes, admitting to everything.
And you asked him the questions?
Very specifically, something I
he
had never
answered
done
it.
before.
And you were 15?
Yes.
Wow. That took a lot of nerve, and also to think in such a way that you would be very, very specific. You were really thinking straight, in other words.
That would be the only way I thought my mother would finally protect the rest of the children. And that's how Janet Reno got involved. But the problem was, if they were to submit the recordings, because my mother wanted to put me in jail for recording him illegally, but then that would bring in the evidence. So basically, the ball was dropped.
So did the tape recordings go anywhere, really?
No.
No, because you can't
Because
record somebody without their...
I could go to jail for recording him without permission, but then again, my stepfather would go to jail because the recordings would prove it again.
Yeah, like I said, it's the worst story of abuse I've ever heard. You and your sister finally left the family. Just want to get this straight. Both parents were physicians. You don't expect this from ultra-educated people, for one thing. 9 children, and it was like total chaos. Did you think that's the way life was for everybody?
I didn't know any different.
Right.
Because we didn't know extended family, we didn't know anybody. We were very, very, very secluded. It was like a clan. But people thought we were so well behaved. My mother was very respected in the society.
And she talked about God a lot.
Yes, so people admired her, and they were very much liked. Even the media took her side.
I would venture to say, if God hadn't given you that vision when you were 7, and you knew he was a loving God, because he came to you in that way, then you might have a real bad idea of what God is, because if your mother's talking about God while she's...
I could have gotten confused. It was a conflict for her to talk
Would have been a lot
about
of
God,
conflict, yeah.
and then again use the Bible and use him to inflict pain. So yes, I could have gotten confused. But in my case, it was God letting me know he'd always be there for him, because he knew that I would have no other choice, that there would come a point in time in my life when I would be an orphan. Now, granted, all the kids went to my older sister, but I was forgotten about. I went to foster homes, got raped some more, went to the Miami Bridge, ran away from that. Then I experienced domestic violence, but I did have a kid. I became a single mother, and now I'm a single mother orphan. But now when she turns a year old, I'm fighting custody battles. So in my case, it's a good thing I knew about God, and at the same time, I had no other choice. I had no one. God was my mother and father.
And the name of her book is Love is the Answer, God is the Cure. You had this sense of belief all the way through this. How many years did this go on until you could kind of look at life and say, okay, I can take a deep breath now and relax?
It took a lot of years, because for many years I was just trying to survive as best as I could, trying to be a good person, but most importantly, trying to hold on to my daughter. And I remember I would pray a lot. I was hoping after the first year the custody battles would end. Okay, after the 3 years the custody battles would end. And I thought, God is gonna help me. The custody battles would end, but then the things that I had to do to keep my daughter, being an orphan, made me feel very bad. And then, you know, it's just one thing led after the other. And after 7 years of just trying what I had to do to pay the attorneys, having to become an attorney myself to recuse the general master, after 7 years, finally, God showed me my husband. And I met my husband. So then my husband was good enough to take on the custody battles with me for the next 7 years. When she turned 14.
You're making me tired.
When she turned 14,
Now, you
she could now
and your
speak for
husband in
herself.
business together?
Yes, medical research.
Medical research. And you also have a radio program. What is it called?
It's called The Cure.
And it's kind of a talk show?
It's an inspirational talk show. It's just because I realized that in the past, when I turned to God, it was because I knew of him and because I needed to. When my daughter almost got killed by a roommate she got from Craigslist, and she was in a coma for 24 days and she almost died, and God saved her life when she wasn't supposed to make it. Now I'm turning to God because of gratitude, because I didn't know how better to repay him for all that he's done for my life. Now I look back and see how I wasn't kidnapped or tortured or killed. And now I look back, and now I'm doing it for much different reasons, taking God a lot more seriously, not doing the right thing because I have to, but doing the right thing because I want to.
Yeah, because during all those years, you were not in any kind of really training about God, teaching and so forth. It's kind of you and God, and you're learning about him on your own, and you're understanding mainly his love. Now, you've been in custody battles. Let's go over it. You've been horribly abused, and then when you turned the tables, it became a big newspaper story, right, in Miami?
Yes.
Huge. Everybody knew about it.
It went all
because
over the world.
2 doctors with 9 children, that's not a, that's a totally unusual situation. And then all the other things you went through in foster care and unending. You really need to get the book. We have the website up there, and you can check it through that. Now, you seem to, I met your husband, really seemed like a nice guy. You guys seem happy together, and you have children now. Do you feel like you're living kind of a normal, peaceful life now?
Well, now I do. First, I had to see what it was like to be without God. Because you have to understand, I was used to having many problems all the time. And then when the custody battles ended, then life got quiet and I stopped praying. That was a big mistake. It had to take almost losing my daughter, her almost losing her life, for me to realize how important God was and to start praying again.
Yeah, see, that's not unusual.
And to pray every day and to put him first and to start every day with him and to think about him throughout the day and to end the day with him and to focus my entire life around God, and everything comes second. And that happened because I made a commitment to pray every day in gratitude. And through prayer, I wrote my book. I saw how it helped people. And because I saw that it helped people, I started my radio show. And I will not stop at nothing until I can somehow.
Well, there's no question. Your relationship with God is very, very interesting because, like I said, you had no instruction. See, I was raised in Sunday school. I was raised to know the Bible very well and how God works. But you learned it because it's true. And that when you slipped away, you felt like God drawing you back. That's what he does all the time. Now, do you have a relationship with any of your siblings now?
I have a relationship with two siblings. Two of my sisters, but the rest of my siblings, if they speak to my mother, they cannot speak to me. And the family's kind of broken. I know of one brother that's homeless. So I don't really have much communication with anybody else. It's surprising to come from such a big family, yet have such little family in the end.
Like I mentioned, you have to read this I've read a lot of books, but nothing quite like this. What about forgiveness? You know, the Bible is so full of the truth of forgiveness. Have you been able to forgive your parents?
It's the most beautiful thing there is, forgiveness. That's why it's mentioned in the Our Father. It is extremely freeing. And you're not doing it so much for the person, because the person may not want to be forgiven. The person may not be asking for forgiveness. You're doing it for you, because you can let go. Because you know that you can do what Jesus Christ did, because you've been forgiven. Because even Jesus, as the people were nailing him to the cross, he said, "Forgive me. They do not know what they do. How can I not forgive those who have hurt me?" And it was when I was able to forgive them that I was able to forgive myself.
Was there a moment when you recognized the need of forgiveness and you made that decision to forgive people who had really wronged you? You were a little kid, you know.
Yes, I realize that I am no one to judge. I don't know my mother's pain. I don't know why my stepfather did the things he did. I don't know those things, and I'm no one to judge. Only God can judge, and I leave that up to him. My job is to forgive others. My job is to move forward. My job is to try to be a good example. My job is to try to grow and to try to learn and to try to help others. My job is to make my time here somewhat meaningful and kind of make a stand and try to make a difference, as I believe we're all chosen, and I don't want to make my life in vain.
Do your parents, do they still practice medicine, or?
I think my stepfather's pediatrician license was revoked. My mother's still working as a neurologist.
And you have no sign at all that no one's asked you to forgive them, right?
No.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I've forgiven haven't asked me to forgive them.
Right.
It's not necessary.
No,
I don't need that.
It's up to them. And unless it comes from the heart, like it came from your heart, and that Jesus put it in your heart.
I wanted to make sure it came from my heart, because it's easy to say
Right.
you forgive someone,
Right.
but do you really forgive them? So I went a step further. I wrote an email to my mother,
Really?
letting her know, after many years, almost 20 years of not speaking to her, letting her know, I forgive you. I don't judge you. You're my mother, and I will still love you. No matter what, regardless. My love for you is unconditional, even though I may not know you. I will not tell you her response.
That
But
is amazing.
I felt that if I could do that, and honestly do that, because of course if she dies I'll be sad. If I can honestly do that, then I know that I've truly forgiven her. Now, the parents of my daughter that I see in court, I'd like to say I forgive them. They've taken me to court, the stepmother and the father, and they've taken me to court for 14 plus years and try to take her away again when she was in a coma. I could say I've forgiven them, but do I go up to them in court and say hello?
Yeah.
With that tension going on. So
Well-
I had to practice really forgiving, not just saying it.
That is the absolute truth. When we know we should do something and all, but you want to be prompted and led by the Holy Spirit and know that it's real. It's real. Well, it's been such a delight to have you.
Thank you.
We're just about out of time, and I just want to speak to the audience and say, so many of you watching have been abused on some level or another. And that same God that took Aimee through this horrible, horrible portion of her life wants to help you too. And, all you have to do is talk to him like she did. All you have to do is believe that he's there and that he cares and that he will see you through and that he can bring you even to that point of forgiveness to the one who abused you. We serve a great God. He's so much into a brand new beginning, because Aimee couldn't go through life now with all of this awful baggage and all this unforgiveness. It just doesn't work like that, because God wants you free. The Bible says, whom the Son has set free is free indeed, and that's free from all the hurts and the pains and the things of the past. He can set you free from that and put you on a path of productivity, of life, of forgiveness, of love, of all the good things that he offers us, because he is God, you're his creation, and he loves you. Why don't you take a little time and talk to him as we're going off the air, and let this be a brand new day in your life. And remember, there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.